Well, good
Good
morning.
morning. Happy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Hump day.
We got.
I don't like how this camera is like on a up high. But
What do you mean?
okay, that's just me. I don't know. It's like up too high. There
Pointing
we
up?
go.
Yeah, but-
That's better. Good morning. It is a beautiful midweek work it out Wednesday.
Sadly, some people refer to it as Hump Day.
Why is that sad?
Well, because it creates a relationship with the week. Like I got to get over this hump.
Oh, I thought I think
Hump
about
Day.
sex when I think hump day.
Well, yeah. Like, why did we start our day Hump Day? Well, today's not over, so
Today's not over.
Still,
we can make up for it.
That's right.
I mean, that definitely makes the day better, for sure. So today we are actually, that's a really good thing because we were just sex, right? Just sex in general.
Just sex.
Just sex. Where we talk about hump day, and then somebody would say, "Oh yeah, let's start the day. Let's make it hump day." You know what I mean? And then there's some woman somewhere saying automatically, "Oh God, I don't like morning sex. Oh my God, no, that's not for me. I don't like it." Closed-minded too, because we think we know ourselves, and we do to some extent. But today we're going to talk about how to be more open-minded. And I had to practice this in my own life as well, is like, what if I asked the question, okay, if I wanted to have morning sex, how would I like it? What would make it fun? So we're going to talk today about how to ask yourself questions that will ignite. This came up last night because I went to dance class last night. I wasn't going to go, but I went. And I go to this kind of like spiritual dance, like free form dance where you go, you just kind of do breath work and vibe, and it's really cool. But last night there was a guest teacher, nothing wrong with that. But as soon as I got in there, I'm like, oh, the music's too low. I'm not going to enjoy this today. I'm not going to have the dance that I want to have. And then I was like, it
wasn't meeting your criteria.
It wasn't meeting my criteria. But then I thought, okay, well, it's an hour and a half tonight. What if I didn't decide that I wasn't going to have a good time? What if I didn't decide that it was going to be a bad dance or whatever? And what if I just said, how can I make this better? Is there a way, and what is the way to help me get into it, to help me have a better experience, to help me be open-minded to learn a new way? Anyway, I ended up asking her to turn up the music, and she did. And then it was like, yes, the lights turned on and the whole room got going. And so it was really good. So it's about being open-minded, right?
On something as like really trivial as well, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Mm-hmm. So last night we were, I was going to get props. I could. If you have popcorn at home.
Oh, Doug makes the best popcorn, guys.
Well, that's pretty, yeah. Believe it or not, if you haven't had popcorn in a while, like try this. Take a wok and put some coconut oil in the bottom, like an ounce or not an ounce, like take 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and then pop it in there. And we have to use tinfoil to cover it, but I digress.
It is delicious.
So yummy. So you put your salt in it. Like before in the oil, and it sticks to the popcorn and all that. But anyway, the point is that, do you know that cereal, cornflakes, was actually born from popcorn? That back in the olden times, popcorn was cereal. And after you make the popcorn, as it, kind of went stale or whatever, you would just pour milk on it and have cereal. So last night I was like to Heidi, like, oh, try this, popcorn cereal. And she was like, no,
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I never had it. I never had it. I was like, no, I don't like it.
And it took a little bit of coaxing.
Yeah.
And then what happened after the first bite?
I was like, oh, that's good.
That's good. Give it back. And then she finished it.
Then I said, if it got soggy, I wouldn't like it. But I liked it. So this is the nature of our relationship. When I met you, before I met you, I was extremely closed-minded, even into the person that I thought I wanted to have in my life. I had the checklist, right? Mm-hmm. That we call this, right?
The criteria.
The criteria for me to know this is going to be good or bad. It has to meet the criteria even before I get into it, including my relationship. And I had like height requirement, needed to be like 6'4" and above, needed to have this level of
and I don't know what
income,
the problem is with
I had to have like tick it off. And then what I realized is instead of saying, okay, well, I don't like this or I do like this and being closed-minded, I said, what is it about the height that makes me the feeling that I'm going for? How do I want to feel in my relationship? Instead of what checkpoints, what must he meet? How do I want to feel? And I thought, well, the height is really just a metaphor anyway for feeling protected, cared for, treasured, nurtured, and cared for, really. And so I have to say, and this man, he might as well be 8 foot tall, right? Because I have all of those things. I get all those things. And it didn't come in quite the thing that I thought it would, right? The height or the packaging or whatever. I wasn't into rockers per se. It wasn't like, oh, I said, when I met him, I was like, you look like you're in a Christian rock band. Like, what's going on, right? And like, I never dated anybody like that. I dated all jocks and like meatheads and things like that by some, not all of them, but so. But the rocker, oh my God, what a blessing, because you know what? He pays attention to nuances and music and is able to create art and do all these wonderful things. So how dare I, that was a real bummer, right? That I closed myself off. Food, same thing. So when I met you, and then I said, okay, this is the opening of my open mind. Let somebody come alongside. You opened me to so many things.
Yeah, now you've become a food snob, which is nice.
A little bit. Like, I thought, guys, when I tell you that I had closed my mind to things I hadn't even tried, I was like, I don't like sushi. No, that's not going to be for me. Are you kidding me? Who doesn't love sushi? Like, are you for real? Like, but you were like, no, honey, I really think you're going to like it. I think you really will.
Just at least give it a shot. It's like it was like being with a toddler.
Yeah, like, I don't like that. Get it away from me.
Have you ever had it? Well, no,
but I know I don't like it. And you know what it is? It is this kind of an odd self-protection mechanism, right? Like, I'm not going to get my hopes up, so I'm already going to shut down something, because if I get my hopes up and I don't like it or it doesn't work out, then I feel like I got let down. So a lot of this kind of closed-mindedness is just to protect ourselves from disappointment ultimately, but you're not really doing that because you're kind of going through like those kind of like this mediocre, not really experiencing new things, right?
Well, and if you're in sales,
coffee. Oh, there it is.
If you're in sales, being open to possibility with prospects. Oftentimes we prejudge.
Oh, they're not going to buy that. No.
They don't have money, or they're not going to get it, and what have you. And we close ourselves off to so many opportunities in life because we're running it through our filters. And even those filters are not necessarily appropriate or accurate. So here we are, changing ourselves, but then we don't give someone else the grace to go, oh, maybe you would be interested in this, or maybe you just because I remember so many times when, doing trainings with car salespeople, you'd find the most successful car guys. And I use that as an example because it's a quicker sell.
An analogy, like everybody goes to used car sale.
Well, no, but it's also a quicker sale, right? Usually people kind of have an idea of what they want. And so many times we'd hear stories about the top salesperson. Basically, one of the keys that they have is they don't pre-qualify, and that they'll be the people who they'll see someone come walking in with ripped pants, flip-flops, stains on their shirt, a crooked set of glasses, whatever. And most people would blow them off, be like, they got nothing. And they end up buying the most expensive car on the lot with cash without a conversation. Basically walking in going, I like that one. I'll take that. And that is such a great sort of metaphor in life.
We used to do that in weight loss too. People would come in when I was, in that industry, and somebody would come in with like 100 pounds to lose, and everybody would be like, I really want to help that person because I know that person's going to enroll in the program. And then be somebody come in maybe 10 pounds, 15 pounds overweight, and they'd be like, you take them. They wouldn't want somebody else to do. And that is such a disservice to people, because what was 9 times out of 10, the person that had 100 pounds to lose was very comfortable with the 100 pounds. The person with the 10 pounds couldn't get it off quick enough. And they would walk through fire to get that done. So it's just like our preconceived notions. Now, we can know that outside looking in, we say, that affects my ability to grow my business. So let me be less closed-minded in business. We get that right away. But just how about our everyday life? How about even when we are comfortable and it doesn't really affect the bottom line, like the morning sex conversation, I'm not a morning sex person.
You're going to put that in the thing where people will watch it.
Yeah. well, if I wanted to have morning sex, if I was a morning sex person, like, how would I like that? How would that feel the best? How could I get myself geared, ready, or, in the mood? And so, I mean, we can talk about sex a whole nother time, but just the open-mindedness in general, all the way from you're already content and closed off.
Because open-mindedness, or we couldn't talk about that at all. It'd be boring. I was being sarcastic.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry. I was on my train of thought, and then I lost. Heidi, it's amazing to see you've become since high school. Thank you. Thank you. In high school, who was I? Cheerleader, kind of the same, cheering in a different capacity. And I was in a relationship with a guy that was really
tall. Not
good for me. No, it was really bad. He was not good for me. He was really hurtful and abusive, and it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I mean, nobody really knew that, but yeah, I was in that for 4 years. Just kind of
all through high school.
And he was much older, 16. He was like 21. Yeah, it was really not a good scenario.
Isn't that illegal?
It should have been. Yeah, it was not a good scenario. So anyway, yeah.
Sorry about that train thing. I was thinking about sex.
Yeah, that's a good thing to get distracted by, honey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how can you go in your day with an open mind and thinking people and being willing to be a student? Like, even when my clients come in, some of the clients that I've been sitting with, been working with, usually I work with somebody for a period of like 3 to 6 months to really get the momentum and go. But sometimes people want to keep coming in, right, for maintenance. And then I can get in that trap too, even with my clients, where I'm like, oh, I know them. I know their patterns. And I do. That's my gift, right, to be like a code cracker, to know people. But I have to remain open and be willing to see something that I hadn't seen before. And so I'm a student of my clients and wanting to always look a little bit deeper, have a deeper understanding. I'm a student of my husband. I could just say, oh, I know him. That's just the way he is, or this is how he, but we're always evolving and changing and growing. And so I need to be opening to the possibility to see something different that I hadn't seen before, because it is there. Mm-hmm. But if I have a lens on my face that's like closed off, like this is just the way that it is, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the boat. I'm going to miss these little subtle or profound changes and miss my opportunity to appreciate that.
Well, and that's so important, because that we practice being open and look for ways and holes, because that's how we're going to grow as well as people. Because if we're closed off, like trying to eat something as little as sushi or a bowl of popcorn, or going to a seminar, or going to an event, or going on a trip, or going on whatever, we miss the magic and all these other opportunities that lie there, because wherever we are right now has been a direct result of what it is we've been exposing ourselves to. So if we're not willing to radically change what we expose ourselves to, we're not going to radically change our lives. And what so often it happens is people like, I want change, I want transformation, I want a new life. And like, okay, here's what you got to do. Like, be opposite George. If you guys remember from Seinfeld, that episode, maybe we'll post that scene where opposite George, do you remember? Did you see that? And basically he did the opposite of what his past inclinations were. And he started getting a job. He got into a girlfriend, he got into a relationship. Everything that he wanted was on the other side of the opposite that he had been behaving. And that's why it's important to surround yourself with people that hold you that standard. Why it's even more important to find a mentor, a coach, an environment that also challenges you. And that's the thing, is that if you're not willing to even take that step, to immerse yourself, to be willing to be open, you'll find yourself being stuck in the same paradigm you've been living in. And then, get to the end of your days and be like, what the F? Thanks, life.
Yeah, when we were working in treatment, because that's a really good comparison to really people feeling like they know people and who they are.
That's what we're with today.
Hey, what's up, DJ? When people would first become sober, or that was like a reinvention, kind
100%.
of a thing, and people would be like,
new way of being.
Yeah, and people put expectations on other people of how they think they're supposed to be, and that's who I really think you are. So you need to now behave in accordance with how I have seen you to who you are. And it's like, we don't even really know who people are. We don't really even know. We have to give people the opportunity, because people don't see people how they are. You see people how you are, right? You don't really know who people are, or so we have to be willing to allow it to evolve, allow it to show up. And when we go in with those preconceived kind of judgments, like I could go into this dance class last night and be like, oh, okay, well, this person's not as talented as this person and they don't really know what they're doing, but it's not that person at all. It's my experience. It's me having that experience, period. It has little to do with anything else. And so if I'm willing to look back and say, if I'm going to own my own happiness, if I'm going to own my own experience, if I'm going to be responsible for my own joy in this moment and not project it onto somebody else not doing something, and be open-minded and say, not you're making me feel this way, but I'm making me feel this way, then I'm open to the possibility of being able to change it or work with it, because then I have power. There's no power in projecting yours onto other people, right? So the power is like, if I could change this, how would I do it?
Right. And that's the importance of recognizing the environment that you
not
are
being
in.
A victim.
Right.
There's nothing I can do, Right.
And we are a reflection of our environment as well, right? There's the old saying, the 5 people you spend most of your time with, you're the average of, right? So that's, again, part of that projection where you're putting yourself in an environment that you are comfortable in. And in order for you to be like that openness, the idea of being open-minded is to stretch your paradigm, to stretch your view, and to be willing to hang out with people who think differently, who think like that are challenging you just in their thought and conversation. Hopefully that's what this is happening. Hopefully with you, that there's a part of you that's going more than just agreeing, but going, ooh, that's a new thought. That's a new way of thinking. That's a new way of being. And that's vital to our growth and transformation. Yeah,
I remember when I used to be so close-minded, just spiritually even. Just like, oh, that's why I grew up in kind of an environment. It was like, oh, this is God and this is the devil, and you stay away from this stuff that's like the devil. And so even trying something like breathing or dance or readings or something like that would be like, oh God, be careful. You're going to get taken over by a spirit, honey. If you go in there, you're going to get possessed. I had all these kind of.
And that's true.
In a good way. Okay. But like, I was so closed off to all that. And then I found, there's a middle way, right? Sometimes I walk into things in an open mind and I go, oh, confirmation, not for me. Okay. A little far in the tree, a little far in the woo-woo land. But by willing to just experiment, that's how you get closer and closer to finding what really is more you, right? By not shutting yourself off and saying, okay, there's a middle way. And now I found the perfect place to go with the people that are kind of like head in the clouds, but feet on the ground. There's a good kind of middle way. But it started on the opposite. It started like way over here, like, oh my God, definitely not my people. What am I doing?
By the way, there's always going to be opportunities, even if you have found your tribe. Now it's time to start looking for expansion of that tribe, to bring in new thoughts, to bring in new things, because we could also get stuck as well. So this is a discipline. This is a practice. We've got our environment, and you kind of celebrate what works and then start adding what's missing. And that being willing to not cut off, because now I have my perfect tribe. Now I have my perfect, now we're back to where we were before. And now that's where we're going to be stuck.
Just stay stuck.
Right.
Hey, Ellie.
And so like, as an idea, we got some great people on here. Mitch, what's going on? So Mitch and DJ right here, down at the bottom of the comments, 2 amazing people recently met. We're going to be on DJ's podcast today, I believe at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time. And Mitch just met last weekend. We talked about it. I was at an event up in Orlando, and he came as meeting a friend who's in the group, and met him. Now, if wasn't open to going to these events and meeting new people and going out to dinner, even when we were tired. We're going to do this in the morning, so I went home early before everyone. It's so important that we're open to all of these experiences and like connect with people on here. That's the other thing, being open to connecting with people on here. I've met people on Facebook, right, and using it as a valuable thing, who've just reached out, and I got to be more diligent in this, who've actually just reached out, almost like a networking event, like, hi, what do you do? How can I support you? Brilliant. Use this opportunity. And sorry, go ahead. Here's our daughter
Sally.
digging for gold.
I'm digging for diamonds. I'm digging for diamonds, baby. Do you want to say anything?
You're digging for diamonds.
You're digging for diamonds. Hey, do you want to say anything to your friends this morning about Happy Wednesday?
Happy Wednesday, guys!
Do you want to say anything about have a great day? Or
I hope you have cotton candy at the Ferris wheel.
Cotton candy,
Life
the
is a
Ferris
cotton
wheel.
candy Ferris wheel. Anything else, Goose?
God, you gotta go for the very good old pee-pee.
Pee-pee in the Ferris. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, if you were to say something
All
in
right.
English, what would you say?
Yeah, just have a great day.
Okay.
All right, we love you guys. We hope you have a great day.
Okay, you gonna say goodbye? Gonna sign off?
We should show our love to me so we could show your love to you.
Show your love to me so we can show your love to you. Wow, that's
That's
pretty
it.
deep, baby.
Yeah.
And I will show your love so much, and I will show your love every day when I see you.
Yes, and we do try to show love every day when we see them, right? Because we do love them. That's why we do this.
That's
Yeah.
why we always say we love you who you aren't and who you are.
That's right. Because we love all of you, right? Just the way you are. Okay.
Dad, can I say we love who you aren't?
Yeah, sure, baby.
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
We love who you aren't and who you are.
That's right.
That's
all
right.
of you.
We
Just
love
the way
you.
you are.
That's all.
Okay.
That's
Bye.
almost like a Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I guess it is. Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you
Bye.
soon. And remember, if you have any questions or topics, please send us in. Let us know what
I want
you'd
to
like
show
to
your
talk
love.
about.
Bye-bye.
Oh, okay,
We love who you
bye-bye.
are and who we aren't.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.